forms of transportation when they get that sick urge to kidnap. No child is safe anywhere. I wonder how many innocent children have been kidnapped prior to summer, and if her abduction could have been prevented if law enforcement would have brought these deviant behavior. Good morning. Boy, I look even rougher than I did last night. Good morning, KK. Boy, I look like somebody slapped me up with the ugly stick, boy. About last night. So, oh man, there's a lot of stuff going on last night. My beautiful friend Emma, she, as soon as she saw, or no, not Emma, Tabitha. Tabitha, as soon as she saw the commenting last night about the welfare calls being called in. They did call a welfare call in on Don and Candace. Actually, 6 of them, but only one officer responded. And Don said that he was pretty cool, and he already knew that he was coming there for YouTube stuff, and they've been out there before. So 6 calls. It's kind of disgusting. Thank you, Tennessee Shine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good morning, Lizzie. Good morning, Alex. Alex! Whoa! Alex! Alex, please email me. Holy shoot, man. I need you, Alex, to email me, please. There's the email right there. Please email me, Alex. I'm trying to get over here where I can pin it. Holy cow. Alex, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm having an issue. Okay, thank you. Altitude Films with a Z. I need to make contact with you. Thank you. All right. So about last night. No, you haven't missed anything. Music City Mom. I am excited to see all of you. It's just though, like Alex has been leaving messages and I haven't, we're playing tag, but I was just watching the disappearance of Elizabeth Smart. Why don't the Wells call the Smarts? They have been through this. Maybe they can help. Well, thing about that is they've been through it, but they've been through it with Chris McDonough. Oh, you guys didn't know Chris McDonough was involved in the Elizabeth Smart case too? Look it up. He was involved. So, a lot of people talking about Don last night. A lot of people saying different things. I want to kind of cover a couple of the things that seem to be glaring, or what people seem to think is glaring. Let me put it that way. Any of us ever sat over like this with a belt on and it just cut into us right here? Anyone ever been sitting down talking and you're just like, ow? So you undo your belt, right? You're sitting there talking and your belt's loose so you can talk now. I mean, shoot, I got a belly. Look at that belly. So you're sitting there and you got your belt undone. And then as soon as you stand up, you don't want your pants to fall down, so you just tighten your belt back up, right? Right? That's what we got, right? So also, guys, if I take my shirt off, which I'm not going to do that because it's actually a little bit chilly this morning, but if I were to take my shirt off, is anyone going to spend the time to zoom in on my nipple and then make that a thumbnail? If you're worried about Candace, then what you ought to do, is instead of commenting, find a real way. Find a real way to be helpful, right? Instead of coming here and tearing these folks up, right? It's like a whole bunch of you folks that never even met these people got a serious vendetta against them. Holy cow. Like, you've heard you don't even know what is official evidence. Oh, shit. I am going to show you one thing, though. Let me put one together. Hold on, y'all. So there is just speculation, just a running rampant. Okay, I want to show you something real quick. I don't have it pulled up. I don't even know that there's such a thing. I'm just going to Google it. And we'll say red bracelet on wrist. And we'll come over here to images. Okay. I'm sorry we got to do this morning, guys. Okay. I mean, it's fuck. What does that look like, guys? It's like a red bracelet on a wrist, right? Look at this one here. See how the lighting is? Let's go on down. This one here, the lighting. We're looking for a particular lighting situation, right? We're looking for a damper light. This one here. You guys see what I'm getting at? Ooh, look at that one there. Yikes. Look at that. Wow. Holy cow. Wait a minute, guys. Wait a minute. You fucking kidding me? All right. So, I was watching the live with Chris tonight, and they spoke about Don being on another live channel. I took some screenshots after seeing the condition Candace was in. Some people commented they called the sheriff for a welfare check because Candace looked like she was overdosing. She looks like, to me, she's lost her daughter and doesn't know how. She doesn't have the coping mechanisms and skills. So I agree she looked out of it. Also, though, after taking screenshots, it appears to me it looks as though her wrist has been cut. The backside shot looks as though blood had ran across it. The underside looks like a cut. Do you all agree? I guess we may find out more if the sheriff does do a welfare check. They did do a welfare check. Where's the blood on her? Fuck! If the blood ran down the backside of her arm, wouldn't it be all over her fucking clothes and her hands? Don't you know when you hold your... Do we have to do a demonstration? Pull in here real quick. Pull in here real quick. Pull in here real quick. So let's imagine you cut yourself on your wrist, right? Now, as soon as you put your hand up, oh, wow, it runs down your wrist. Oh, but this is probably what she did. After it ran down her wrist, she probably just cleaned it all off with her shirt and just had a strip right there. That's it. Don't! I swear. I swear. Ah! Oh, that one too. Looks like she cut her wrist, but in a very Arabic pattern. God bless. All right. So, man, I forgot what the hell I was doing, man. This shit. Oh. So, yeah, they went there last night. They talked to Don for a couple of minutes, put some eyes on Candace, and they left. Let me go rinse my arm off real quick because that shit is already getting sticky. 4 seconds. So, no, but I knit a little. Oh boy, oh boy. They can't stop bashing these people. So, I guess there were a lot of people monitoring what was going on last night while Web Sleuths was on, and fair enough, right? So while we were doing our thing, they were over there doing their thing, but they was watching what we were doing our thing. And when they found out Don was over here, I guess old Jeannie just old Jeannie, she texted what she called the proof that she didn't commit statutory rape. That's what we're calling it. That's the real charge, right? When you have sex with a minor, and we're talking about teenage years, what you're actually more looking at than SA. SA is sexual assault or sexual abuse. When you have a scenario where a teenager is not a child, but is sexually active with an adult. A lot of times that's called statutory rape. Statutory rape. Statutory rape is a crime that involves sexual contact with a person who is under an age specified by law, commonly referred to as the age of consent. Most states no longer refer to this crime as statutory rape. Now, in common law jurisdictions, statutory rape is the non-forcible sexual activity in which one of the individuals is below the age of consent. So we've not heard anything about anything being forcible, at all. at all. What we're dealing with here is a non-forcible sexual doohickey. Now, I was incorrect about Trisha. Ronnie is not Trisha's dad. Evidently, Trisha's dad is some mystery man from behind the skating rink. And that has been widely corroborated. So, guys, when we start throwing around this SA stuff, you have to make sure that's actually what the actual charge would look like in court, right? What you people all think when you hear SA is some forcible situation. If we had a forcible situation, don't you know that the likelihood that would have been looked into 40 years ago quantifies by 1 billion? We've not heard of any forcible situations, right? These situations, from what we've all gathered and what we've all heard and what we haven't heard, we've not heard anyone come around and say these were forcible situations. Ugh. And what's the maximum penalty for statutory rape, Benny? Well, depending on your particular criminal background, you could get the fucking big one. It is a sexual criminal conduct. See, in Michigan, they call them CSCs, criminal sexual conduct. It doesn't necessarily mean that there was a forcible situation. It just means that there was conduct of a sexual nature that what was criminal, doesn't meet the intent of the law, right? So Jeannie being 20 and Ronnie being 15 is not the intent of the law. You could say Don's done this and Don's done that allegedly. We're talking about a woman that laid down with a boy and made the decision to carry a child to term with another child. How does that sit with everyone? A criminal sexual conduct from Jeannie that results in a child with a child who is underage, right? Now all of a sudden we've got to get all the proof sent over to CM, the deity of all SAs, right? Have a good day, Yvette. Is there allegedly a birth certificate that's not proof, just hearsay? Let me tell you what, this 12-year-old, 13-year-old boy is officially on Trisha's birth certificate as a 13-year-old. How does an 18-year-old talk a 13-year-old into signing their name on a birth certificate for a child that is not theirs? Could it be that Ronnie really is the guy from behind the skating rink and that 13 was just far too young? And so it was a better story. I don't know. I'm just saying. Very well could be. We weren't there. Right? How does a 13-year-old make an adult decision about taking on another man's child that is not his child? How can a 13-year-old quantify that in his mind? He cannot. He was coached and led. It's disgusting. That is gross. Having a child with a child. (15 and 26), guess what? That's statutory. Unless your mom and dad sign off for it. But guess what? Didn't nobody sign off on this one. Didn't nobody sign off on this one. Right? If she's trying to show proof, proof means that she's emoting a feeling that somewhere inside her she could have went against the law. When you start trying to provide proof and you just sit back and say, man, I don't have nothing to worry about none of that. Right? I'm not worried about none of that because I already know the scenario. Well, when you're online and you start trying to provide proof and receipts and stuff, it's showing the rest of us that you want to convince us that what you did was right. Is it only the CM only track down SAs regarding little girls? I mean, look at Don B's situation. Don B suppressed the sexual assault of his own son. Clearly, in America, we have a bunch of grown men who elude to children, their male children, that it's okay to be bedded down by a woman of legal age. See, in America, that's every boy's wet dream. They don't want a girl their age. What does a 13-year-old girl have for Ronnie? Nothing. What does a 18-year-old girl have for Ronnie? Well, everything a 13-year-old boy wants. See, it doesn't matter that Ronnie is not the father of Trish, because what you know is there was a sexual relationship. Okay, so he's not the father. The guy behind the skating rink is the father. But at 13, he was having a sexual relationship with a woman who's 18. Old enough to be his big sister, but not his girlfriend. There it is. It is a double standard. Chris will never touch in a minute the fact that his golden egg, his golden chick, has done the same. But worse, in my opinion. When you start bringing children into relation, like what in the actual fuck does a 13-year-old know about sex? Evidently, in Utah, everything, because they've got people like Jeannie who's catching them up to date. Let me tell you what, if my son came home as a 13-year-old with an 18-year-old woman, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to first call the Plano police, and I'm going to say, Plano police, this is Benjamin Lindsay. You know me. It's an 18 to a 20-year-old woman over here having sex with my little boy. Come over now because her jaw is all the way over here, and she says that she can't breathe good. I'm going to tear that woman up. Say what you like on here. If a woman assaults my son sexually, I'm going to fuck her up. If a man decides he wants to assault my son sexually, I'm going to fuck him up. I protect children to protect children to protect children. Jeannie did not break the cycle. Jeannie is the cycle. That's it. That's it. Monkey, just stuff from last night. And we're talking about the age differential between Ronnie and Jeannie. And just what would go along with what would comprise some of those. Melly Mel. Melly Mel. Yeah, that's the problem. He didn't do his homework. He didn't even know that while he's representing what he thought was an SA victim, what he's representing is actually a suspect in guess what, guys? Did you know that what Jeannie did was a habitual, sustained abuse of Ronnie? This went on and on and on and on until he was of legal age. This was a consistent and habitual act. by Jeannie. She didn't do it one time when he was 12 or 13. She did it from the time he was 12 or 13 until the time he was old enough to buy cigarettes and drive a car. Hoo-ah. Oh, you can't make this shit up. Only Jeannie and Chris M can make this shit up. Fuck you want me to do about it? I didn't create the shit. She's got 5 kids. She had 4 kids with Ronnie. Looking like 2 kids before he was old enough to even consent for himself. She had 3 kids by the time Ronnie, this boy, was old enough to even get a fucking job. Yes, I do believe it was the number of years that she was offending against this boy. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. When I was growing up at 12 or 13 and I used to go to gym and we used to play basketball or soccer or dodgeball, and then we were, part of our grade was meant to go in and take a shower naked with other boys, right? Don't you know at 12 or 13, there's a pretty big portion of 12 or 13-year-olds in a shower that are not fully equipped to handle a woman. I mean, as far as this right here, right? They ain't got that. They don't have this. They don't have this. What would an 18-year-old girl find attractive about laying down with a little boy who's hairless? Where were his parents? I don't know. Good question. You shouldn't throw stones if you live in a glass house. And if you got a glass jaw, you should watch your mouth, because I'll break your face. Yeah, it is disgusting. So, it isn't good for the gander, right? Terrible for the goose. This is not fucking acceptable in any way. Not acceptable in any way, shape, or form. Hoo-ah. Okay, so Don admitted to his dirty laundry. Jeannie, admit to your dirty laundry. Did you think after 40 years we would forget that you had children with a child? You had children with a child, Jeannie. Now you're here trying to defamate and incarcerate Don for the same thing you did, except for yours was habitual and sustained. You picked a boy at 12 years old. You plucked him from his mother's fold and you said, he will be the object of my sexual desire. And he, at 13 years old, shows so much promise that what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an environment where I have 4 more children with this man. Ooh-wee! In my Sauce Walker voice. Ooh-wee! She did worse in my eyes. You plucked a 12 or 13-year-old boy away from playing his Nintendo so that you could create a child with him, so that you could get him to sign a birth certificate. At 12 years old, the only thing you should be signing is the top left-hand corner of the piece of paper in fucking geography class. You should not be with an 18-year-old woman being exposed to sexual culturing and without protection. See, it's bad enough when you sleep with a child, but it's a whole nother level of devious when you irresponsibly have a child with a fucking child. You ought to be fucking ashamed of yourself coming on here with all this shit. It's different when you're an organic victim, but when you victimized and now you're here to redeem reparations and you're here to be reparated for the same thing that you've done to a little boy. A little boy. My daughter is 16. Ain't no dating happening until she can pay her own bills. And it is a known fact here. She's not even going to be dating boys her own age. Let me tell you what. There's probably boys at 12 years old that cannot even ejaculate. You're talking about an 18-year-old who's running around partying, doing drugs, drinking, all the shit. In some kind of way, she is allowed to spend sexual time with someone's 12 years old is not even a fucking teenager. You understand that, right? It's disgusting. Only someone who has done to a child what she has done to a child would come here seeking reparations. It is the very definition of insanity. Doing the same thing repetitively, expecting a different outcome. Why are you here doing this? The guy was a kid. Look at here. My 12-year-old don't even play off the street. On the street. Whose bed? Who would allot a bed for a 12 and 13-year-old to get in bed with an 18-year-old woman? Who would provide that bed? I don't know. Maybe it wasn't in a bed. I don't know. But what I'll tell you is that Ronnie was a child, and he had his whole childhood snatched away from him to raise a child with a grown woman. Jeannie likes to talk about her childhood being stripped away. Ronnie's childhood was fucking taken from him. And when they took his childhood, what they replaced it with is a child to hold on to. They said, here, Ronnie, there goes your childhood. But here, Ronnie, here's an infant to take care of. You don't even have good parents that's going to keep you away from a vicious, victimizing 18-year-old girl. You don't even have parents to keep you away from that. So you certainly don't have parents to help you raise a child as a child. Guys, it's disgusting. Do I believe at this point, after seeing what I'm seeing, and I don't want to stretch out here too far, guys, and if you guys don't like it, I'm sorry. Are we here because Jeannie was afraid all this stuff with Ronnie was going to come out and that Don was going to grab a hold to it and bring it to the police? So what she had to do first was create a situation against Don? You could look at it that way. I mean, you can't say that it's not that way, right? You definitively right now, today and this morning, could not say that that isn't a play to try to tie up the courts first, because she knew Don, maybe Jeannie crossed the line with Don. And Don said, you know what? I'm going to tell them about that shit with Ronnie. Fuck you. And next thing you know, you got all this. Of course it is. Of course it is. But see, this is the thing, life, glamorous life. I didn't sign up to help anyone with no SA. I signed up to help a man and a woman find their daughter, right? Now, all this other shit's been put in play. I think that I look like the most unbiased person about this. Do I think it's cool what Don did? No. Do I think it's cool what Trish did? No. But I find a level of honesty in Don that helps you accept the fact that this man could receive help or would be open to help, right? What you have is a woman here who does not feel the same way Don does. You have a woman here that has assaulted a child sexually for a sustained amount of time and habitually. But she'll never admit to it like Don did, right? Hula. She'll never admit to it. Even though we have the proof, she'll never admit that she did wrong to Ronnie. Don did. So who do you start to put your faith on? Do you put your faith with someone who will never right their wrong, who will never repent for having a child with a child? Or do you start to place some of God's given faith in a man who will admit his own wrongs because he knew what he did? See, it says in the Bible that they don't know what they do. Yes, they do. They know not for out what they do. Yes, they do. She knows exactly what she did, and she does not have the sand and the fortitude that Don has. Don said, yeah, I was a kid. I was involved in some situations that were not forcible. What they actually probably would be labeled as is incest in Utah, or a non-forcible sexual experience. Those kinds of cases that are not aggravated they do have a statute of limitation in Utah, and it's 8 years. Look it up. Even for forcible sexual assault, the statute of limitations is 8 years. There are 19 sexual offenses in Utah that do, in fact, have an unlimited statute of limitations. And those are all aggravated sex crimes that either included extreme force or weapon. That's how you get to aggravated circumstances, when you bring a weapon into play. Or anything. This could be contrived as a weapon, depending on how you come at somebody with it, right? This too could be contrived as a weapon, depending on how you come at somebody with it, right? This will do something. Did you know that this can be a weapon? You can really hurt somebody with this. Did you know this could be a weapon? Did you know this could be a weapon? Yeah. But did you know that a vagina could be a weapon? Did you know? No. I bet none of you. Now, you want to know what I keep the baby powder for? Slapping the dog shit out of people. That's what I keep that baby powder for. Just like Pimpin' Curly, right? Give me the baby powder. Somebody give him some baby powder, and right behind that, somebody got the shit slapped right out of him. Has anyone ever thought that a vagina was a weapon? I'm being fucking serious here. A vagina is a hell of a weapon. A vagina has men all around the world trying to validate themselves to other men for this woman or about this woman. But then the power of the vagina will create scenarios where 12 and 13-year-old boys are actually gaslit to believe they have what it takes to be a father. Not only that, but they have what it takes. A 12-year-old needs to be shown how to use a fucking Rubik's Cube and how to unassemble a Transformer action figure. They have no comprehension about what to do with what God gave them when they don't even know how to undo Optimus Prime. So, has anyone in here, no, I know no one in here has. Let me tell you what, as a man in America, I have been victimized in some form or fashion, not sexually, but I mean, I have been victimized by many vaginas in my day. Many women have victimized me. Many women, physically, emotionally, financially. Ronnie couldn't even make it through the supermarket without going to the toy section. After begging mom and dad for candy, he goes to the toy section because he wants the plastic handcuffs and the badge. Because at the store, Ronnie's only thinking about the plastic handcuffs and the badge. But then when he gets home, there's a fucking cheetah named Janine. And she's there to steal his innocence and give him a child while he's a child. Can you imagine? Now, we don't have a scenario where Ronnie is only 12 years older than his kid. But can you imagine? That's what Janine was shooting for. I mean, at 36, you got a kid that's right behind you. Like, you end up being a grandparent with like 12 years between you, 20 years between you and your grandchild. That's not enough. That is not enough. There it is, guys. It's not the way I want it to be. Emma, she wanted to be with him. She was with him at 12, and he signed a birth certificate at 13. I couldn't even sign my name good at 13. Ooh-ah. You want to know what I was doing when I was 13? I'll tell you what, man, I didn't lose my virginity until I was 16. I was worried about trying to make somebody's basketball team, trying to make somebody's football team, trying to dribble between my legs, trying to dribble with just my left hand. You know what I'm saying? Trying to catch the football with one hand. Like, you know what I'm saying? Working on my vertical leap. Those were the things I was doing at 12 and 13 years old. Wasn't even thinking about no girls. Can you imagine what that signature looks like now? Wow. It looks like Miss Thompson would have walked Ronnie through holding his wrist. Okay, Ronnie, big R, little O, little N. I mean, come on now. Anyways, guys, I love all of you, man. You know that. Ain't no shame in my game. Benny Keys. Ain't no shame in my game. Looking like the baby signed it itself. You know how they take the ink and put the baby's footprints on the damn birth certificate. Wouldn't that be a shame if Ronnie's feet just wasn't that much bigger than his own kids? I mean, holy cow. Guess what? Ronnie, there's a hell of a hand-me-down in that house, right? As soon as Ronnie's done playing with his transformer, next week he can give it to his daughter. Whenever Ronnie wears a hole or wears a thin spot on his jeans, he can just give it to his son. He don't have to find nobody in the neighborhood that's around his age because he's got kids coming right up behind him. Oh, Annie Marie. Hold on, Anne Marie. Since you want to come over here being slick, let me show you something, Anne Marie. Let me fucking show you something. Don't care. Because you're about to be proved wrong. Don't trot off real quick. Hold the phone way. Hold the phone. Anne Marie. Anne Marie. Read that, Anne Marie. He is not Trisha's dad. But he's Tiffany's dad. And he was 15 when she was born and Jeannie was 20. Make that make sense. He's 3 years out from being consensual. And she's 2 years past it. So we got a span of 5 years in there that ain't no good for nobody in no jailhouse. Figure me? Make that make sense, Anne Marie. Where you at, Anne Marie? Anne Marie, where you at? Anne Marie. Oh, I had it the wrong way. Anne Marie, look. Look, Anne Marie. She was 20 and he was 15. Anne Marie. Say something about that, Anne Marie. Anne Marie. Where you at, Anne Marie? Oh, she's being quiet now, huh, Anne Marie? Anne Marie, what you got? Oh, Anne Marie, you fact-checked the wrong shit. That's what you done, huh? Came over here trying to talk slick and then got slapped in the bottom of your chin, didn't you? So what? She had a child with him when he was 15. What the fuck you trying to say? Okay, so he didn't sign the birth certificate until he was 20. But he had a kid with her when he was 15. I'm not showing Google. I'm showing Tiffany's birthday, Ronnie's birthday, and Trisha's birthday. That's what the hell I'm showing. Okay, you got me, Anne Marie. Whew. Maybe his signature was an adult signature because he was 21, but he wasn't a fucking adult. In 1991, he was 15 years old in 1991, and Jeannie was 20 in 1991. Fuck you, mean? Well, you better take that shit on. You better take that shit on. We don't even want Linda here. I don't know. I didn't even see what she said, but if you're with the fuck shit, keep it pushing. I don't know how. Anne Marie. Anne Marie. Boy. This all brown when your head's in your ass. Ooh, This all brown. Oh, I see what the deal is here. There we go. That's it right there. That's it. She probably had him marry her to try and cover up and save Jeannie's ass, still underage. Whoa. Anne Marie, there it is. Sorry, y'all. Okay, so he didn't sign it till he was 20. I don't give a cowboy shit about none of that, right? Because the rest, it's longer than I-20. Look at it, right there, 291. Look at here. You want to see when Ronnie was born? 575. Right there, man. So that makes Ronnie 46, and that makes her 51. Hoo-ah? Is that right? I don't know. Big difference in Don Wells' birthday and Jeannie's. Why don't you show that? Well, because what we're showing right now, everyone already knows 6 years between her and Don, but most people didn't know there's 4.5 years between her and Ron. He was a minor and she was an adult. He was a naive kid, and that he became a father at 15. This is a very similar story very similar to the story of Don's oldest son that did prison time for the same thing with the same age gap. Wah, wah. Anyways, guys, remember, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. If you're not subscribed, please think about subscribing now. We have 2 membership tiers. That is not what makes the channel go round, but it certainly helps. I don't even know what you're talking about, Lizzie. Read what? Trisha's father is an unknown man from behind a skating rink in Utah. Thank you, Penny. For shit show. For shit show. For shit show. Truth always wins. The SS. I don't know what SS you're talking about, sweetie. I don't have an. I have one from that I sent you. It's the last one. I don't know. I don't have no screenshots from today or yesterday. Video links, though. Behind these hazel eyes, these eyes, every night. She was impregnated by a 14-year-old, and he became a father at the age of 15 when the child was born. Disturbing. If you don't think so, you need help. Girl, please. You need to tear your ass. We already know that ain't the truth. You're over here just looking silly telling lies. Okay, so she wasn't with him, but she was having sex with him. This woman has come over here in 2 different ways and tried to spin it around for Jeannie, and it still ain't good, Jeannie. Day 90, guys. Big 90. Let's do a little math real quick. For those that aren't aware, you've got 90 days times 24 hours. This poor girl's been missing 2,160 hours. 90 days is 2,160 hours. She's been gone 2,160 hours. These are the worst 2,100 hours that those people could have ever dreamt up for themselves. They couldn't even have dreamt this up. 2,160 hours. Doesn't it seem like that's not enough time? Like, that doesn't seem like 90 days. It seems like it's way more than 2,100 hours, but that's how long she's been gone. We don't want 4,200 hours, do we? Seems like we do. You look at the YouTube, right? They'll believe any fucking thing. Make something out of nothing and then try to fucking stand on it like it means anything. Try to make something out of nothing and then stand on it because it don't mean nothing. I'm out of here, y'all. I love all of y'all. I'll catch up with you later on. Au revoir.